Hi, I'm Daniel, and today we are taking a look at the Sony NEX-VG10 Handycam. This is Sony's first commercial consumer-grade video camera Handycam with an interchangeable lens. And this interchangeable lens is actually based on the E-mount system. Sorry about my squeaky tripod, but so this is based on the E-mount lens system, which is also being used on the Sony Alpha NEX cameras that you saw on our show close to about half a year ago. So essentially that is kind of what this thing is. It is actually a video camera, with all of the benefits of interchangeable lens as well as a huge sensor. So let me just take you through the hardware itself. It's actually a very sexy looking camera. It's got this really cool look. It's got a nice grip up here. Alright, so the camera comes with an 18-200 millimeter lens. So this is the one that's a huge lens. And then, so of course it's interchangeable. So I can just show you right there. I'm going to remove the lens. Right, and this is a standard E-mount lens, means that you can actually fix this lens onto a Sony Alpha NEX-3 and 5 as well, although that will look kind of ridiculous because it's such a huge lens, although the benefits of the lens is definitely there. So it's very big. The lens itself comes with the shade, of course. Okay, so let's see, on this side, this is the LCD display. Alright, you can take a look. And so the thing about this LCD display is that if you take a look at it, you'll notice that it looks just like the what you find on the Alpha NEX series. You got two buttons up here, one menu and select. So this will correspond to the two buttons on the side here. Okay, so and the LCD rotates upwards and downwards, but it doesn't allow you to do a whole 180-degree turn. I don't really know why. So you cannot do self-portraits with this thing, unlike what you will be able to do with many other handycams already. Okay, so over here you have the controls. You have a four-way directional pad, alright, up, down, left, right, as well as a jog dial. Okay, so you can actually push this in as well. This will actually replace the wheel that you normally find on a NEX 5 and 3 camera. Okay, you got a play button over here, and then you have something that will allow you to switch between the LCD and the viewfinder. So this is the viewfinder. Okay, and you will be able to, I don't think you can see the image inside it, but it comes with this little thing as well, which you can remove and you can adjust it. You can turn it to the left or the right. Okay, and it does, this viewfinder does actually go up and down, so you can actually film, low and stuff like that. So, and then over here is the battery compartment. Okay, which is found behind this little piece of plastic here. The battery that comes with it is actually a small battery, so you can see there's a lot of space inside there. You can definitely fit a significantly larger battery. It comes with a really small battery, and I think you might want to upgrade it. Okay, so this little frame actually, all this little cover does is kind of make fills up the back here so that it looks nice without, even though it's a small battery. You got the controls right here. This is the record on and off, and you have the mode switch. You have the photo. So there's two modes, either video or you can go to still. Alright, you got a neck strap over here. It does not come with the strap itself, but you can buy one yourself. And the battery release. Okay, on this side, so let's you got a monitor for headphones. Okay, so you can monitor the audio that's coming out from the microphone. And then at the bottom right here you have DC, so you can actually plug this into a power source rather than using the battery for long shoots. You got HDMI out as well as a mini USB port right at the side here. And one interesting thing that you notice on this grip is that it's shaped this way, and if you put your hands inside, which I'm going to try and do, you'll notice that it fits just nice. So your thumb is here, and it's got this very nice shape that allows your fingers, since they're, to really grip onto it. It's angled especially just for that, of course, right hand only. Okay, so yeah, got the lens release switch is found here. Actually, you can see that. Alright, and of course the 18-200 lens. This is a lock switch that locks the zoom lens, because apparently if you don't lock it, this lens is so heavy that when you store it, the lens will just kind of drop out on its own. On the top here, you've got a mic in, so you can connect your own microphones. Alright, and then up here you got a little, you'll find two shoes. me just get that into focus. This is the Sony's proprietary hot shoe, right? So you gotta use Sony's proprietary flashes. You can, however, buy a little adapter that you can buy from the Sony store that adapts the proprietary shoe into a standard shoe. This right here is a cold shoe. It is not a hot shoe, and this allows you to attach other accessories that normally use a shoe. But again, like I said, it's not hot, meaning that this shoe is not able to trigger off a flash. Right, the flash will have to be triggered off independently. It's good for microphones, good for things like lights as well, video lights. And then over here you got this little sock, which I'm just going to take out here to reveal a 4-point surround microphone. It's a very nice looking, fierce looking microphone. Okay, so that's basically it for this camera. It's a very nice camera to look at. Alright, and so one thing I was just telling you earlier is that this camera is based off the Alpha NEX-3, everything, and NEX-5 as well. So everything about those two cameras you will find here, the same user interface. In fact, if you take a look at this, if I take out here's the memory card slot, by the way. Supports both memory stick as well as SD, just like the NEX cameras. And the battery stops here right now, and the battery itself is about this size. So the camera only takes up this amount of space. This whole chunk here is just the battery, and by the way, the speakers are up here. And let me just finish up. I forgot to mention this one as well, which is the camera shutter button. Alright, so it's a 2-level shutter button. So everything about it is just like the NEX, and down to the user interface. So the problem is that with if you're using the viewfinder, let me just switch it back to the LCD screen. With this LCD screen covered up, you cannot actually navigate the controls, and all the controls are on the left side. So if you want to change something, so right now, let's say, let me just go into the camera menu itself, and then I'm gonna change the shoot mode. I'm gonna change the shoot mode to say program, or let's say aperture priority. Alright, so all the menus that you see inside there, these are all stuff that you'll find on a DSLR. And if you want to change settings, for example, you want to change the aperture, you can't do that with, you got to do it with your left hand. So you got to actually reach over and use your left hand to do this, while most of the time your left hand will actually be holding the lens rather than trying to do it. So, and also because the lens is really heavy, it's actually very inconvenient for you to reach the controls. So what you have to do is set the controls, and while you're filming you won't be able to adjust it, or while you're moving around. So that is one problem with it. It's even worse if you're using the viewfinder, because the moment you close up the LCD display, you have access to 0 controls. The only control that you can access is the start and stop record button and the mode switch. So that is one thing about it. And then the other thing is that this user interface doesn't really translate as well to these keys. So like I mentioned, this is a jog dial. On the original NEX, this user interface was designed for a wheel that with a select button inside, which can go 4 directions as well. So it kind of makes sense, like especially to this kind of thing. You notice the user interface really looks like a wheel, because the original camera was a wheel. But now with this up, down, left, right thing, it gets a little bit confusing. This kind of things you'll get used to with time. It's just that, it's kind of strange that they didn't just change the whole menu system. And then the other thing is that if you know, the Alpha NEX cameras were known for their intelligent software, and a lot of the presets are gone. So the only thing, right now the only things that's left is the handheld twilight, as well as the anti-motion blur, which basically takes 6 photos, and then so that it produces a really sharp image in low light. So these are the strengths. And then you've got the 4 modes. There's no intelligent auto. Intelligent auto has been removed, and so have the scenes. I don't really understand why they had to remove it, because it doesn't cost the camera anything to leave these settings inside there. Suddenly makes it easier for you to do presets if you're kind of new to this. I guess perhaps because they're trying to make this camera sort of a pro camera thing. So that's one thing to take note of. And the other thing is that I also don't really quite understand why is there a need to separate the camera mode with the video mode, because the only thing it does though is that it kind of helps you make sure that if you are in video mode, you can't set to handheld twilight or anti-motion blur, because these are designed for still. But when you are in still mode, then all these settings will come back. So you can see that. Oops. If I go into still mode, these 2 modes will come back again. So that's one of the things. And also, if you notice, the menu is exactly identical, except that, you know, you can either scroll the wheel to get into these menus, or you can hit the left, right. Another thing we found out is that this camera does not have Wi-Fi software inside, meaning that if you're gonna get an Wi-Fi card, you can't actually, you know, turn the Wi-Fi on and off. You won't be able to know the wireless status. So these are some of the limitations that's found in this camera. Also, even though this camera has a brilliant microphone, there is no, you know, the software is literally a still camera software that's on this camera itself. So even though it has a brilliant microphone, there is no way for you to see the audio meter. I've tried it. I tried very hard to find it, but you know, there is no audio meter to show you how's the volume going. The only way you're going to be able to tell is if you put on monitors, and then there are no audio controls, meaning that you cannot adjust the audio gain, neither can you turn off the automatic audio gain. So these are some of the limitations that you might want to take note about this camera. But now, let's shoot a video with this camera right now. And I'm just going to do right that. I'm going to hit the start button, and from now on, the audio that you'll hear will come from the NEX VG10. So we're just going to take a look. One thing that you notice already is that, sorry about the squeaky tripod stand. One thing that you already notice is that I can't actually, there are no zoom controls, and the only way I can adjust the zoom is if I, you know, turn the lens itself. And because the microphone is so close, to the lens, one thing you'll notice is that you will be able to hear the sound of the lens moving. So I'm just gonna take a look at this. You've got this little kite that's kind of stuck up there, and you can do really brilliant video. And again, one of the great things about this, because of the fact that it has such a it's got such a low you know, depth of field, thanks to this giant aps-c sensor that's inside there. You can do some pretty amazing shots. For example, right here, I can zoom right into the plants. All right, get it to focus. And you get this really nice background blurring happening behind there, which is really cool. So this is something that you'll only be able to do with a camera that's capable of doing you know, shallow depth of field, thanks to this giant sensor. And the interchangeable lenses allow you to play with a lot of this kind of things. So again, another thing I can demonstrate to you, perhaps I can point it up here, and look at this amazing view of the sunset in the background while this plant is in focus. So this is some of the amazing things that you can do with a camera like this, and that it's definitely, you know, like having a camera with a body like this definitely makes it very easy for you to it's more comfortable to film video on a camera body like this compared to, let's say, an SLR or DSLR or you know, or mirrorless camera. So I'm going to start the recording here. That is the Sony NEX-VG10 Handycam. It is on sale already today in Singapore. You can get it for around 3,000 Singapore dollars. The $3,000 does come with this lens. One of the coolest things that I found of this entire camera is not the camera itself, but the lens really. An 18-200 lens allows you to do some really amazing shots, both still as well as a video. So again, because this is an Alpha NEX-5 inside, this camera, the camera body itself, you can take some really amazing photos with this camera. Of course, it's a really big camera to carry around if you want to take still shots, but mostly everything that you can do with an NEX-5, you can do it with this camera, with a little bit of inconveniences because of the way the buttons and the menus are set up, you know, and also because there are no presets, you gotta do everything manually on your own. But you can pretty much do everything, you know, on this camera itself that you would be able to do with the NEX-5. So if you're kind of looking into trying out some professional, you know, you're not getting into professional video, you know, go somewhere into beginning and a place where it's expandable, a camera that's expandable, you might want to consider this one thanks to the E-mount system. Alright, if you buy a 299 Singapore dollars adapter, you'll be able to use all of the Alpha mount lenses with this camera itself. So yeah, this is it. The Sony NEX-VG10 camera. If you like this video, you gotta check out tech65.org. We've got a lot more videos like this one, and if not, you can subscribe to our channel for more cool technology reviews. And I'm Daniel. I'll see you guys very soon. Goodbye.